You ever have one of those moments that splits your life into two parts, before and after? Mine came in the form of an anniversary card. Not a breakup note, not a hidden camera, just a card. One of those overpriced ones with shiny foil and cursive fonts, the kind they slap a $6.99 sticker on and call it romantic. It was our ninth anniversary. I got home from work a little early, stopped at her favorite Thai place, and even picked up those stupid lavender candles she liked that made the whole house smell like a haunted spa. I walked in with takeout in one hand, card and flowers in the other. The house was quiet. Not suspiciously quiet, just Wednesday quiet. I figured she was upstairs in the bath or watching reruns of that crime show she loved. Ironically, the one where the husband always ends up being the killer. I placed the food on the kitchen island, set the flowers in a vase, and went to our bedroom. The door was open, and there it was, the card. Not the one I bought. Hers. On the nightstand. Slightly ajar. Now, I'm not the kind of guy who snoops. I don't read journals, I don't scroll through texts, and I sure as hell don't listen through doors. But the card was addressed, sealed, and signed with someone else's name. To my always, it read on the front. Inside, this year was perfect. You make me feel like the woman I used to be, before I got lost in routines and rings and roles. You remind me I'm still wild. Still worth it. Still wanted. Happy 1 year, love. M. 1 year. Not 9. 1. I stood there, staring at her curvy little cursive like it was a knife. And here's the kicker. The man she was writing to? His name started with AT. There was a little PS at the bottom. PS delete our texts after you read this. I think he's starting to notice. He. That would be me. Now I know what you're thinking. Confront her immediately, right? Flip the table. Demand answers. But see, that's not who I am. I'm the kind of guy who replaces a rotting fence post, not just paints over it. So I didn't yell. I didn't even blink. I closed the card, walked back down the hall, reheated the Thai food like it was just another night in paradise. She came down 20 minutes later in that silk robe I bought her last Christmas. The one she said made her feel expensive. She kissed my cheek, poured herself a glass of wine. You're quiet, she said, brushing some invisible lint off my shoulder. Just tired, I replied. Because in that moment, I wasn't angry. I was calculating. And trust me, she had no idea who she was married to. By the next morning, I had a plan. Not a revenge plan. Not yet. This was a reconnaissance mission. I wasn't about to blow up a marriage based on a poetic little Hallmark confession. I needed names. Dates. Data. I'm a strategist by nature. I once tracked a faulty AC vent in my office to a raccoon using nothing but a laser pointer and 3 post-it notes. So yeah, I could track a secret boyfriend. First stop? Her phone. Now, I'm no hacker, but I know my wife. She used the same passcode for everything. Her phone, her gym locker, even the garage keypad. 0723. Her birthday. Narcissistic, but helpful. She left her phone charging in the kitchen while she showered. I waited until the water started running. Not when she got in, mind you, when it started running. That's the kind of patience betrayal teaches you. I unlocked it. Straight to the texts. Nothing. Then I remembered the card PS delete our texts. Cute. But sloppy. Because Monica, yeah, her name's Monica, feel free to sneer when you say it, wasn't tech savvy. She didn't know how to clear cloud backups. Or that I'd installed a network-wide data logger last year when someone kept ordering sushi on my Amazon Prime without telling me. I pulled up the server on my laptop. A few keywords later, our spot, last night was incredible, and boom. There it was. A string of messages from a contact saved as Tanya, spin class. No profile pic, no emoji. Like a teenager trying to outsmart their parents. I clicked through. Pages of messages. Tanya, you tasted like cinnamon again. I swear you do that on purpose. Monica, maybe I do. You're bad for me. Tanya, then let's be bad again. Next Thursday. Same sweet. Monica, I'll bring the wine if you bring the playlist. No interruptions this time. I nearly laughed. Because the T in the card? He wasn't just a fling. He was a full-blown recurring event, scheduled tighter than our tax meetings. Thursday afternoons, when she volunteered at the shelter. Guess we were sheltering something, all right. And the worst part? The guy's Spotify username was attached to one message. Tom Adams, 83. I knew him. Everyone knew Tom. He was her co-worker's brother. Used to come to our 4th of July barbecues and compliment my grilling technique like he was studying for a midterm. You sear steaks like a man with purpose, he said once, beer in hand. Hawaiian shirt open just enough to irritate me. I remember thinking, this guy's got the smirk of someone who eats other men's leftovers with a smile. Turns out I was the leftovers. That night, Monica asked if I wanted to try the new Spanish restaurant downtown. Seafood paella and sangria, she said, grinning like nothing in her life was treasonous. My treat. I accepted, smiled, because why not let the trader spend a little before the trap closes? And let me tell you, that was the best damn paella I've ever eaten. Shrimp, calamari, betrayal, tasted like victory in its early stages. The thing about liars is they're not very creative. They think changing a few words makes a story bulletproof. So when Monica told me she was taking a self-care weekend at a spa 2 towns over for her birthday, I nodded, smiled, even packed her bag with extra lavender oil and a new robe. The one with the initials MAK stitched on the collar that she never figured out I got embroidered for me to find if she ever left it somewhere suspicious. She kissed my cheek, said she'd turn her phone off to really unplug. I said, you deserve it. What I didn't say was, I booked the room next door. Not at the spa, mind you. The actual hotel where she and Mr. Cinnamon Breath had been frequenting. I tracked it down from her email confirmations. She was smart enough to delete messages, but not her recently searched tab. God bless autofill. So while she sipped cucumber water and practiced betrayal yoga, I checked in under the name Daniel Gray, paid in cash, and requested a room with a balcony facing hers. Binoculars? Too cliché. Instead, I used the hotel's mirrored window tint and a telephoto lens hooked up to my laptop. You can take the man out of the AV club, but you can't take the AV club out of the man. Friday night, 7:42 p.m., Tom arrived. Cargo pants, smug expression, wine bottle under one arm like some dollar store Casanova. She opened the door in that same silk robe, my robe, and I swear, I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity. They ordered room service. Laughed. Played music. At one point, he stood at the window in nothing but a towel, holding up a glass to toast the night sky. He couldn't see me, but I toasted back, quietly, with a cup of peppermint tea and a silent middle finger. The next morning, I had the footage clipped, labeled, and backed up in 2 separate encrypted drives. One would go to my lawyer. The other? You'll see. Because I wasn't just watching, I was building something. A perfect storm with Monica's name on it. She texted me that afternoon. Just finished a deep tissue massage. Needed this soup badly. How's your weekend, love? I responded. Peaceful. Restful. Just what I needed. Which was true. I'd never felt more alert in my life. The Monday after her spa weekend, Monica walked into our house like she'd just cured anxiety itself. Her skin glowed. Her mood? Floaty. She wore this smug little half smile, like a woman who thinks she's balancing 2 lives so elegantly she ought to get a prize. Feel like a new woman, she said, tossing her bag on the couch. I nodded. You look relaxed. I am, she sighed, stretching like a cat in sunlight. Sometimes you just need to unplug. She didn't ask how my weekend was, which worked in my favor because I had a hard drive full of high-definition lies sitting in the pocket of my coat. You know what's wild? The human brain can hold 2 conversations at once. While she told me about cranial sacral therapy and how much she missed me, the other part of my mind was already drawing up battle plans. Not for a messy divorce. Not for a shouting match. For something surgical. See, my revenge didn't need to be loud. It needed to be invisible, like carbon monoxide or slow poison. My goal wasn't to hurt her. It was to make her reveal herself. Step 1. A dinner party. She always liked to host. Loved being the center of attention, even if she acted reluctant about it. So I picked a Saturday. I texted our closest friends and a few of hers. And I made one special invitation. Tom Adams. From my secondary email account, I wrote him under a fake name, Darren Cole, boutique event planner. Hi Tom. A close friend of Monica's has recommended you for a surprise celebratory dinner. She says you're very close and would want to be there. Elegant, quiet crowd. Open bar. Formal attire. Discretion appreciated. I attached a fake flyer. Classy fonts. Candlelight ambience. Just enough flair to seem real. He RSVP'd absolutely. Wouldn't miss it. Classic Tom. The night arrived like a well-set trap. Our house gleamed. Monica was in her zone, lighting candles, fluffing pillows, arranging artisan cheese boards like a woman starring in her own Pinterest fantasy. She played it up. You've really outdone yourself, I said. Oh, stop, she replied, flipping her hair like she didn't spend 3 hours adjusting the charcuterie height. By 7:15, guests were arriving. Laughter filled the house. Coats on hooks. Wine glasses clinked. At 7:40, Monica tapped her fork to a glass and said, "Thank you all for being here. This was Logan's idea, and honestly, I think we all needed a night like this." Applause. Smiles. The illusion held. Until 7:46. That's when the doorbell rang. I opened it. And there he stood, Tom Adams, dressed like an off-brand James Bond, holding a bottle of Pinot like it was a peace offering. He blinked twice. Logan. I smiled. Welcome, Tom. We're so glad you came. He looked over my shoulder, clearly searching for her. Oh, she's just in the kitchen, I added. He hesitated. I might be in the wrong place. No, I said calmly. You're exactly where you're meant to be. When Monica walked into the living room and saw him, something in her pupils shrank. She froze. Then, Oscar-worthy, she gasped. Tom, she said, all innocent confusion. What are you doing here? Tom looked like a deer on a freeway. I thought this was, well, I was invited by a friend of yours, he said, voice already cracking. Everyone stared. Monica laughed nervously. Oh my gosh, that Tom. From the gym, right? Wow, what a coincidence. Tom looked at her like she'd smacked him with a dictionary. Jim. She gave him that fake laugh please leave now expression, but he missed the cue. Poor guy thought he was being included. That's when I stepped in. I tapped my glass, calmly, and said, actually, since we're all here, I'd love to show you something. Just a little thank you/surprise. Monica, you don't mind if I run the projector, do you? She turned slowly. Projector? Just a few photos, I said. Some memories. A few guests chuckled. Someone said, oh, slideshow, like this was a wedding reception. I dimmed the lights. The first image was of Monica's 30th birthday party. Laughing. Cake on her nose. All warm nostalgia. Second, us in Italy. Venice. The gondola. Third, a still frame from Hotel Suite 412. No names. No dates. Just her in that silk robe, glass of wine, and Tom behind her, shirtless, holding a playlist on his phone. The room went dead silent. Fourth slide, text messages. Short, sharp, clear. You make me forget I'm married. I dream about your hands. Let's disappear. And finally, slide 5, the envelope. Sealed. Stamped. Labeled. To Monica, from Logan. Open later. I turned off the projector. Half the room looked stunned. The other half looked like they suddenly had somewhere else to be. Tom was pale, sweating. Monica didn't speak. I handed her the envelope and said, you can open that whenever you're ready. It's just the deed to the house. Your toothbrush is already packed. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. So I finished for her. Oh, and Tom, I added, looking him dead in the eyes. That robe she's wearing in the photos? I bought it. The playlist you were using? I made it. For her. On our anniversary. He blinked. Take care, both of you, I said, clinking my wine glass. Don't forget to delete your texts next time. Then I walked upstairs. Calm. Controlled. Not a word out of place. Because the best revenge is making the guilty feel polite while they drown. The house was dead quiet after I left the party. I went upstairs, poured myself a glass of water, and sat on the edge of the bed like it was any other night. From the window, I could see some of the guests slipping out. Half of them avoided the living room like it was radioactive. The rest stayed just long enough to whisper awkward apologies to Monica before retreating into the safety of the night. I heard Tom leave first. No goodbye, just the hurried shuffle of loafers and a muttered, unbelievable, as the front door creaked open and slammed shut behind him. Monica didn't follow. She stayed downstairs, alone, probably frozen where I'd left her. Next to the shattered illusion of control she'd built like a Jenga tower out of lies and mid-afternoon texts. I didn't go back down. I let the silence do the talking. That's the thing about betrayal. When it's exposed without violence, it leaves echoes. And those echoes are louder than any shouting match ever could be. Around midnight, I heard soft steps on the stairs. She appeared in the doorway, no longer glowing. Mascara clung to her lashes like it had nowhere else to go. Her robe was gone. She'd changed into sweats and a hoodie. My hoodie, I noticed. The one she used to steal when she wanted to feel close to me. The irony would have been hilarious if it didn't make my skin crawl. You planned all of that? She asked, voice thin as thread. I didn't answer. I just sipped my water and looked at her like I was still deciding if she was worth a sentence. Logan, she said again, stepping into the room. You should go, I said quietly. Suitcase is in the hallway closet. I packed the essentials. She blinked. That's it. After everything we've been through. I turned to her, slowly. You mean after everything you dragged us through? Yeah, that's it. She flinched at the flatness of my tone. The way you do when you realize the person who once made you feel safe doesn't even flinch anymore. Her bottom lip wobbled. For a second, I thought she might cry. But Monica didn't cry. Monica calculated. And right now, she was trying to figure out if there was any leverage left in the room. There's no one else, she said, eyes glossy. Not really. Tom was just a placeholder, I finished. Yeah, I read the texts. Her mouth opened, then closed. No defense came. Here's the difference between you and me. I continued, finally standing. You lie to feel powerful. I tell the truth to stay free. She stared at the floor. I was bored, Logan, she whispered. No, you were lazy. I corrected. Bored is watching paint dry. What you did took effort. Lying takes energy. Sneaking, deleting, performing, that's a job. You worked harder on cheating than you ever did on us. Her breath caught. And now, I added, now you don't get the satisfaction of a fight, or a final cry, or some big romantic plea in the rain. You just get silence. You get finished. For the first time in years, Monica looked scared. Not of me, but of what she'd become without me there to prop up her performance. She turned to leave, then paused. Did you ever actually love me? She asked, and I swear, it sounded more like a test than a question. I shrugged. I loved the version of you that existed before you got bored. She left the room without another word. The suitcase wheels clicked softly on the hardwood floor, like a ghost being dragged out of the past. The door closed behind her. Not slammed, just closed. And just like that, the air in the house felt lighter. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was heartbroken, because I wasn't. I'd done my grieving months ago, in silence, while she whispered to Tom over hotel pillowcases. No, I didn't sleep because I was awake in a way I hadn't been in years. There's something about clarity that hits harder than any emotion. I didn't feel anger or sadness. I felt clean, like I'd taken a cold shower and walked out into a world that finally made sense again. The next morning, I made coffee. Same beans as always. Same method. But the taste was sharper, like it had been waiting for her absence to get bold again. She texted at 8:13 a.m. Monica, please don't do anything crazy. Let's keep this civil. I stared at the message for a full minute before responding. Me, you lost the right to define civil when you made our marriage your side hustle. Then I blocked her. Not for revenge. For peace. Over the next few days, the calls came in waves. Friends. Her sister. One of Tom's co-workers who just wanted to understand what happened. I didn't answer any of them. Because here's the part no one tells you. When you walk away quietly, they all lean in, waiting for the explosion that never comes. And that silence? That's the real punishment. That's what drives them crazy. But I wasn't done. Not yet. Because remember that envelope I gave her? The one labeled "Open Later." It wasn't just the deed to the house. It wasn't just a breakup letter. Inside, I'd included one more thing. A receipt. Printed, dated, and signed. From a private investigator I hired 6 months ago. She never saw him. But he saw everything. Hotel footage. Dinner bills. GPS logs. Phone backups. A copy of her spa booking that listed the two-person suite. Even a selfie Tom had posted, briefly, before realizing the bedspread in the background matched a well-known hotel's Instagram post. Everything, tied with a bow. And at the bottom of the envelope, a post-it note, in my handwriting. You played a game you didn't understand. I just played it better. Monica didn't respond to the envelope. Not directly. She didn't text. Didn't call. Didn't even send one of those accidental likes on old social media posts like she used to when trying to claw her way back after a fight. No, this time, she disappeared. Or rather, she went quiet. And that's not the same thing. Because Monica? She was never built for silence. Her world ran on chaos and applause, and I had taken away both. But I knew better than to think she was done. Monica didn't play checkers, and she didn't play fair. She played whatever game let her control the narrative. So when I got a notice from her attorney requesting a mediation meeting, I wasn't surprised. The wording was polite, almost flattering. Mutual closure, amicable terms, dignified separation. Translation: let's split things before the truth gets expensive. What she didn't realize was that I had already rewritten the ending. The meeting was held in a glass-walled office that smelled like lemon polish and artificial peace. I wore a navy blazer. No tie. Just enough polish to say, I'm here because I chose to be. Monica arrived 9 minutes late. Strategic, I'm sure. She wore black, morning chic, and oversized sunglasses like a B-list celebrity pretending to be elusive. She took them off slowly, revealing eyes puffed with just enough redness to look human, not broken. Logan, she said softly, sliding into the chair across from me. Monica, I replied. No smile. No small talk. Just even breath and posture straight enough to balance a chessboard on my shoulders. Her lawyer did the talking. Of course. Mrs. Keller, still using my name. Interesting. Would like to propose a clean split of assets, with retention of the property currently in her possession and a one-time financial equalization of. I held up a hand. Let's skip to the part where you think you get the house. He blinked. Excuse me. Monica folded her hands. Logan, let's just be reasonable. I am, I said, sliding a thin manila folder across the table. Here's the deed. Signed, notarized. And the statement from our joint account, showing I already transferred my share to my new place. You moved out. I moved on. Her lawyer flipped through it, mouth tightening like a drawstring. This wasn't disclosed prior to. It didn't have to be, I said. There was no prenup, but there was a marriage clause tied to fidelity. The room fell into that special kind of silence. The one that feels like the floor just dropped out, but no one wants to be the first to scream. Monica's eyes narrowed. That clause was symbolic. I smiled just a little. You signed it. With a pen. On our wedding day. Symbolic or not, it was legal. And thanks to a certain private investigator, it's also enforceable. Her lawyer leaned back slowly, realizing he'd walked into a meeting that was actually a checkmate. Look, Monica said, her voice suddenly softer, rehearsed. I didn't come here to fight. Good, I said. Then you'll have no problem agreeing to the terms I've drawn up. She stared at the new document I pulled from my bag like it was radioactive. It wasn't a financial demand. I didn't want her money. I didn't want her car or her antique vanity or that ridiculous bar cart she insisted on importing from France. No, what I wanted was clarity. The document stated that Monica would voluntarily vacate any claim to shared property or future alimony, relinquish use of my surname in any public or professional capacity, issue a brief, legally reviewed statement admitting marital infidelity as grounds for divorce. No slander. No gossip. No, we just grew apart, PR spin. Just a quiet line of accountability. She looked up at me, stunned. You want me to confess? In writing. You already did, I said, tapping the folder with the photos and texts. This is just formalizing the obvious. Her lawyer leaned in, voice low. Mr. Keller, if I may, this is highly unusual. Most of our clients prefer to keep this sort of thing discreet. So does my dignity, I said. That's why I'm giving her the chance to walk away with it. Just not in my house. And not with my name. After a long pause, Monica signed. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe exhaustion. Maybe she finally saw that she'd been playing a game where the scoreboard was never in her favor. She slid the papers back across the table, hands trembling. I picked them up, glanced over them once, then stood. Good luck, Monica, I said. I hope Tom makes you laugh half as hard as the people at that dinner party did. She didn't respond. Her eyes just followed me out of the room like she wanted to say something clever, but couldn't find a line worth using. By the time I got back to my new place, I felt something unexpected, relief. Not because it was over, because I'd ended it my way. No shouting, no broken glass, no cryptic Facebook posts or dramatic mutual friends choosing sides. Just truth, signed and delivered, with the kind of precision she never expected from a man she once called predictable. I made a cup of coffee, took it out to the balcony, watched the sunset burn orange over the city. Then my phone buzzed. A text. Unknown number. No name. You're a better man than I deserved. I know that now. I deleted it without replying. Because I didn't need the apology. The silence was enough. Divorce isn't a fall. Not for me. It's a recalibration. I didn't waste time finding myself. I already knew who I was, the man she underestimated. The man who survived betrayal without ever raising his voice. The man who left the burning house calmly, flipped the breaker on the way out, and never looked back. First thing I did, I changed my locks, then my number, then my habits. The old Logan used to meal prep on Sundays and watch cable news until he was mad about things he couldn't change. New Logan started running 5 miles every morning. He bought a punching bag, not to hit, but to listen to the sound of contact. I moved into a condo near the marina. Quiet neighbors, clean floors. A landlord who dropped the rent after I fixed her garbage disposal without being asked. She called me old-fashioned, like it was a compliment. I didn't argue. I just smiled and handed her the invoice, $0. Monica? I hadn't heard from her in weeks. But the world? It had started noticing I was back. It was a Saturday. I was standing in aisle 7 comparing power drills I didn't need. I already had 2, when I heard someone say, "Cordless is a trap. They die faster than your faith in humanity." I turned. There she was. Denim jacket, sharp eyes, a smirk like she'd been saving it for someone smart enough to catch it. She nodded at the drill in my hand. "Makit is better, unless you enjoy regrets." I laughed. Not because it was the best joke I'd heard, but because it was real, effortless. We ended up grabbing coffee, then lunch. Then, 3 weeks later, dinner that neither of us cooked. Her name was Marin. No, not like the county. Like the woman. She was a contractor. Built things with her hands. Fixed things that broke. Rare breed. By date 3, I told her everything. No edits. No sweeteners. Just the full Monica saga, the betrayal, the setup, the goodbye. Marin didn't flinch. Just sipped her drink and said, "You've got excellent taste in revenge." That's when I knew. This woman didn't want to fix me. She liked that I already had. It was a Thursday morning when it happened. I was pulling into the lot near my new office, real estate now, consulting work, when I saw her. Monica, standing by her car, looking unsure of whether to come closer or pretend she wasn't there on purpose. She spotted me, gave a cautious wave. I didn't wave back. She approached anyway, still dressed like a lifestyle influencer with no camera crew. "Logan," she said, like we were old colleagues, not battle-scarred exes. I leaned against my car, arms crossed. "Something you need?" She hesitated, eyes scanning mine for a trace of softness. "Tom and I didn't work out," she said. Shocking, right? I didn't smile. She laughed nervously. "He said I was high maintenance." "Can you believe that?" "Actually," I said, "I can." She bit her lip. "I've been thinking a lot about how things ended. About you. About us." I let the silence stretch. "I just wanted to say, I never expected you to walk away like that," she said. I shrugged. "You expected the old me. He's gone." She nodded slowly. "I know." Then, a pause. "I miss you." I looked her dead in the eyes and replied, "I don't." She stood there, stunned, like no one had ever said that to her before. "I'm seeing someone," I added. "She builds houses. Doesn't lie in them." I walked past her. No dramatic exit. No final insult. Because the most satisfying revenge is being untouchable. Months passed. Monica faded into the background like a chapter no one rereads. Marin and I, we took it slow. The kind of slow where trust isn't asked for, it's earned. Not with flowers. With consistency. We fixed up an old beach cabin together. Painted the walls. Hung crooked shelves. Laughed at the mess of it all. One rainy afternoon, I found an old envelope buried in my desk drawer. It was the first draft of the letter I never gave Monica. I'd written it months ago, back when I still needed the last word. It read, "To the woman who mistook my patience for weakness. You didn't just lose a husband. You lost a man who would have rebuilt the world for you if you'd simply asked. But you didn't ask. You lied. You layered deception over routine, then called it marriage. And I played the fool. Until I didn't. The day I left without yelling. That was the day you truly lost. Because you didn't just lose my love. You lost access to it forever. I read it one last time. Then I tossed it in the fireplace. Because I didn't need her to read it anymore. She already knew. And I was free.